welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Wednesdays. Today, I'm joined by Arlo McKinley, a singer-songwriter who just put out his debut album this past summer. We're really excited to talk about it. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Very happy to be here.
Yeah. So for people who may not know you, do you want to just give us a quick little intro to how you got started in music?
I've done music since I was like in some capacity of some way or another since I was about 8 or 9. Started singing in church, a Baptist church when I was young, and then just I don't know, it always stuck with me. So later in life, in my 20s, late 20s, 30s, I kind of took a stab at songwriting, but I was always just more of a singer. I kind of got a little confident, a little more in my songwriting, I guess, because people were liking what I was doing. Now here we are. But yeah, it's just been the one constant thing my entire life that stuck with me. So
I heard you almost gave up on music a little bit ago.
Yeah, I put out an album in 2014 with my band here, The Lonesome Sound, and that was just kind of to document the songs that I'd written, and you know, and that I wasn't sure if I was going to really move forward with it, but life throws curveballs at you, I guess, sometimes, and then I don't know, just through the support of the little music scene that I was in and everything, and some people close to me just highly recommended that I stick with it, and you know, it looks like they were right because I ended up right in some ways, I guess. You know, I don't know. I ended up here, and I don't know. I just wasn't sure if it was really a confidence thing. I think about being a songwriter, because, like I said earlier, I was always a singer. I would sing in studios for people, sing harmonies and stuff like that. And when it just took me a while to get comfortable to really say, okay, I'm gonna try to do this as a career. And then mid 30s I decided to do so. Now I'm 41 and everything's kind of coming together. I'm glad I didn't walk away from it. So,
you know, I think age doesn't really matter, and sometimes people think those things, and that's what knocks your confidence a little bit. And not that 41 is old, because it's not.
Yeah, right.
But in the music world, like, everyone's like, oh, he didn't start until 40, or like that.
Yeah.
Crazy to people.
Yeah, it happens all the time. People always ask if I feel any kind of like pressure being a little older, and I really don't. It really doesn't come into. I don't even really think about it too much. Maybe if I was trying to be like a big pop star or be famous or something like that, then maybe I'd be like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna. Maybe I'm going after the wrong demographic or something. If I was trying to do that, or maybe I am a little too old or something like that. But I just wanted to play music as a living and just get by and be comfortable doing so. And so I don't think really age comes into play, and I think it's almost an advantage for me, at least, because now I don't know, I have stuff to write about. I've kind of lived a life that's given me these songs, because that's all that I'm doing is telling my life experience really in these songs. So I think it's worked out for the better, more of a positive than a negative, for sure, for me.
Yeah, it seems like it. And especially with this album, Midwestern, it has a lot of emotion, a lot of storytelling, a lot of different types of songs in it that you can tell are from years of experiencing different things.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely, there's some pretty crazy stories throughout the whole record. But well, yeah, it's good. I wouldn't have been able to write this stuff at 20 or even in my early 30s, or I hadn't gone through enough to really write about it. I wouldn't think it's as authentic as I wanted it to be, because I would never want to put something out that wasn't me. So I don't know. I've always looked at music a little differently. I'm not differently, but I guess I'm not a person who can just make up a story. Like, I'm not a storyteller really. I just tell my story, and hopefully people relate to it. So, and it just took a while for me to get through all of that. So now I'm singing about it.
There's definitely a lot of emotion behind all of those songs. And that's, you say you're not good at storytelling, but you're expressing the emotion of the story through the song that you wrote very well, I think.
Well, thank you.
Where does all of that like emotion come from?
It's really just my personal life, just everything. Like, it would take forever to do, but I could sit and tell you what every single song is really about, and there's nothing on there that's fiction in any kind of way. It just comes from me trying to be honest about the good and bad and uglies of my life. It's there's been a lot more bad and uglies than good sometimes, but in that album especially is just like a time period. It's the last few years kind of wrapped up into an album, and so I just wanted to document that, and now maybe the next one will be a little, maybe not so. I don't think it's a very like depressing album. Some people have said it's kind of depressing or whatever, but I like how you say it, emotional album. That I definitely agree with, and I don't know. Who knows what the next one will be? I guess I have to live the next couple years out and see, or the next year. So hopefully I'll be in the studio sooner than that, but we'll see.
Do you have like a song? I don't know if favorite is the right word. Sometimes it's hard to pick favorites, but a song that like hits closest to home to you on this album, or that you have like a favorite story of writing?
Yeah, it's my favorite song on the album probably is the opening track, We Were All Right, and that's the one that was really the most simple song probably for me to write. That just came to me in a weird little way, but on like an emotional level, on one I connect with well, is She's Always Around. But they're kind of, it's like you said, it's sort of hard to pick a favorite because they're sort of like my kids or something. I don't have kids, but I'm assuming that I kind of compare them to that. I don't know. It's hard for me to pick one, but We Were All Right kind of sticks out to me for a few different reasons. But I think that was a turning point when I was writing that song. Was a turning point when I decided to really go with playing music, and decided that I was going to quit the jobs that I was working, and I was going to commit full time to it. There's that part of it, and then it also kind of was my closure on a certain like relationship type thing, and that needed to happen. So I think that writing that song kind of gave me what I needed to move forward and walk away from what I thought was interfering with a lot of stuff in my life personally.
Yeah.
So that would be it.
Did you start writing these songs before you fully committed to getting back into music?
Most of them, yes. Well, about half. One, like Bag of Pills is like 10, 12, between 10 and 15 years old. And but besides that song, they were all written probably about within the last 3 years. So I'd had these songs for a while, and then about half had been written, and that's going back to the We Were All Right thing. That from there, I think I wrote maybe 3 to 4 more, and then that's what became the album. But yeah, I've been holding on to these songs for a while. And then we had recorded this album once already with my band here, and then that's when the whole thing with Oh Boy came along. They had heard the album that I had recorded here and was about to put out ourselves. So we kind of just went and recreated that album, and added a few newer songs that I'd written as well, just to kind of freshen it up a little bit and gave it new life. So, but yeah, I've been holding on to these songs for a little bit.
Yeah, so you mentioned Oh Boy, which is John Prine's record label. and you were the last
Yeah.
signed.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
How did that happen?
I had, it started with, it would have been 2017, I think, either 2017 or 2018. I was invited to come to Nashville to play during Americana Week at John Prine's. He had a little pop-up bar for that week called the Tree of Forgiveness, and I don't know how we got asked to do that, but that's where I met Jody, which is his son, and who runs Oh Boy with him. And so that night, I had that kind of started the relationship with me and Jody, and we just sort of went back and forth. And at that time, we really didn't even, I had no idea that they were interested in it, or, you know, I would see them when I go to Nashville, but we'd never really spoke about it. But then I guess time went by, and I guess they all kind of were listening to the album, and I think John heard it, was a fan of it. And then I remember us playing Nashville, and I'm walking to the stage. I've told this story so many times, but it never gets old. For Timmy, at least, I'm walking to the stage to play, and I say hi to Jody, and he introduces me to his mom, Fiona, and I knew she was going to be there. And so I was already a little bit nervous for the show, whatever, because I knew she was coming. And there were talks at that point a little bit. This was the first show of our tour in 2018, I believe. And I didn't even notice that John's standing right next to me. And Jody's like, I don't need to introduce that guy right there, but he came out to see you. And I look, and it's John Prine. So we shake hands, and he says, I'm excited to see you. And I think he commented on Bag of Pills there. I think that's what I know that's the song that caught his attention.
Yeah.
And then, so that was an experience to have that happen right before I'm about to play on stage. So I had to go and tell the band that John Prine's in the crowd, and not to be too nervous, but it worked out, because I guess that's the night that they decided that they did want to work with me and move forward with it. So yeah, kind of crazy. Wow, super crazy.
What, like, you kind of already alluded to it, but what was that feeling going through your head right after you met John, and then you were like, okay, this is the first concert of my tour, gotta...
Right. That, and I've said it often, it could have, like, I don't want to, you know, hopefully I'll see how far this music thing takes me or whatever, but after that moment, everything could have kind of fallen apart musically, and I would have felt like I achieved success in my own way, and I would have been happy with it, knowing that someone that I look up to as a songwriter, someone that's influenced me majorly, you know, chose to come see me on a Thursday night in Nashville. And this was, you know, after Tree of Forgiveness had been out, and, you know, a lot of people, you know, I don't know, to come out in Nashville, to be John Prine, to come out on a Thursday night to a show, it was just something that meant a whole lot to me. And then I think he had to leave during the show, because so many people were just getting pictures with him, because the place we played is so small, there was nowhere you could go, which is another reason why I think it's just kind of a cool little experience. But I don't think it really hit me until later that night. Like I remember just sitting there, I think we're at the hotel room or something, and just thinking to myself, like, man, that really happened. That, like, I don't know, but it was crazy. It was a really it was a surreal experience, but then it became very real after that. It was one of the best little moments that that music has brought to me. It was nice.
Did you get to see him again after that at all?
No, I didn't get to see him after that. We had played with him once prior, and we didn't even cross paths. I don't even think I'd known Jody yet at that point. But after that, I don't think so. I think that was the only time that I ran into. I think that was the last time I ran into him. And so that was it, because I dealt with Jody pretty much all along. He kind of, I think, takes care of most of he kind of runs the show over there. So I was always in contact with him anyway, but I would have liked to, it would have been nice to, to talk with John about music and stuff like that. But I'm very thankful to even just have that opportunity that I did have. So, yeah.
Have him recognize your talent and
right
is so cool.
It's still probably the coolest thing, the coolest story I have to tell still. So it's pretty amazing just to know that he believed in it enough to give the go ahead to say let's work with this guy. So it was pretty crazy. I discovered him through my uncle actually, years and years ago when I was young. And when I first was introduced to him, it didn't make like sense to me, I don't think, because he writes about some like weird, not weird things, but just kind of, I don't know. It was, I guess the timing in my life wasn't right for me to get it. And then it was a few years later, probably when I got into like songwriting really is when, so I'd say probably in my late 20s, probably. So I'd been listening to him for quite a while by the time I'd met him. But and it was just, cause I remember the first time hearing him, just thinking some of his like lyrics were a little, off the wall, or just a little strange. But then I just didn't get it. I didn't get it at the time. And then later it becomes, that's him, Bob Dylan, and Hank Sr. are like my three favorite songwriters, and Blaze Foley. So my four favorite songwriters. So, so it's weird how that happens sometimes. I do that with a lot of music though. I won't completely get it the first time I hear it, but I'll go back to it. It makes complete sense. So
I think that also comes with, different stages of life, and
yes,
you like this kind of music, or these things relate to you at this part of your life, and other things relate to another time of your life.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly how it was with his music for sure.
Yeah. And I know, obviously, we all know he passed in April, which is really sad. And like, he was such an incredible like influence on lots of people. How did you find out that happened, and like how did you feel when you heard?
I remember hearing, I can't remember exactly where I would have been, but I remember getting a text or something late that just said John, something was in the hospital, but it was just like, I think he just had COVID, I think, at that point. And then we were all, there was concern, but then from the information I was getting, it kind of looked like everything was going to be good, like everything was going to be okay. So everyone kind of like quit stressing on it as much, at least on my end here, or like our end. But and then out of nowhere, I just remember getting the text in our band thread, and like my manager in band thread said John had passed, and then looked online and saw everyone posting about him, and it was just, I don't know, it was it was pretty crazy. Just March, April. That was April. And my mom, this has been a crazy year. My mother had just passed the month before in March. So I was still dealing with that. And then the John thing happens. And those are like two people that I wanted to hear this record, like more than anyone. So I put like a little dedication to them in the record and all that. But so it was just a weird time. It's a weird year, so nothing really makes too much sense. But we just do our best to move forward and try to, at least with the label and all that, I just try to be responsible and do what I think John's vision would be for the label, and hopefully do things that would that he would have been all right with, and make him proud, and try not to make as many dumb decisions as I would have made in my life and otherwise. But it's one of those things you kind of have to handle it, and you have to move on. just, and I think that's also why that meeting with him just means so much to me. Just that little moment. It's not like we even said a whole lot to each other, but just that little interaction just is, yeah, that means the world to me. So it's good.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think both John and your mom should be proud of this album.
Yeah, I think so, and that's what's really gotten me through. So I'd like to think they're somewhere listening to it, and he's probably had to tell her over and over, it's Prime, not Prime. My mom would always say John Prime, and I'd have to, and I always like, Prime, Mom. But, so I think everything's all right. Everything's working out the way it's supposed to, I guess.
Has any of that like caused you to want to write about, things that have happened recently, or have you yeah, for sure. It's definitely found its way. Both of those situations have found their way into my songwriting, and then also just life in general, because with my mother's passing, it was real sudden. Like I had just seen her, and then the John thing, we thought it was going to be okay, and then he's gone. And it's also just affected me, like personally, like none of us really know, when it could just be gone like that. So I'm just trying to, I don't know, enjoy the moments that I have with the people around me, and make sure the people that I'm around me know that I care about them, and just trying to be better overall about everything, and not let too much time pass by without making something of that time, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know. Yeah, no, I mean, especially, I think a lot of people during this time are starting to think that way.
Yeah.
A lot of things that have been going on, and it's eye-opening.
Yeah, it is.
Like you start living in the moment, and
yeah, it is
hard for people these days to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Pull yourself, like, oh, let me just remember what I just did, and just
right. Yeah, because we do little things, and then it's over, and then we move to the next thing. And now I'm just trying to slow down a little bit and enjoy what I'm doing, and really just not. And then I don't know, just trying to put everything in order of what's important and what's not, and I don't know, just get better, I guess. Make tomorrow better than today. So
I know this album just came out, but do you have plans for like writing more, producing more music?
I want to get back in the studio as soon as possible, and just try to, because I have so many songs written. I think me and my bass player were counting them the other day, just writing them out when we were together, or a couple weeks ago actually. But I've got like 30 something songs written that are unrecorded, and then I'm still writing. I'm writing more now than I have in a long time. So I just want to, whether they become the next album or what, who knows. But I do, recording's always fun. I just want to have what I've written documented. That way I can leave this world with everything that I had. So, or leave people with every song that I had, I guess is what I mean. But yeah, but I'd say that too, hopefully I'd say by the beginning of the year, maybe we'll probably start talking the next record, I'd say, which I already have. I think I have the songs picked that I want. We'll see how it goes, but hopefully the world gets back to normal a little bit and start playing shows again. So
how much do you miss shows?
We actually, I miss it horribly, and then I really didn't know how much I missed it until last weekend. We actually got to play 3 nights down in Lexington, Kentucky, and all 3 nights were sold out. And it's at a place that we play at, or used to play at all the time, the Burl. And they're doing some really well put together, like social distance shows. And so we played there 3 nights, and it was the longest. It had been so long since we had played, and I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed playing with my band, and just having an audience watch and hearing people sing along, stuff like that. It's just, I think, another one of those things that I used to take for granted. Now, yeah, it's another thing that I've learned during all of this is that, yeah, when, I don't know, I used to complain about like having to be at sound check early and all this, and now I'll never, I won't say I won't ever complain about that kind of stuff again, but right, yeah, right. But I'll always be thankful for every show that comes my way from here on out, for sure, more than I was previously.
Yeah, but I miss going to shows. I mean,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm not like musically inclined in any way, but I would go to like 1, 2, sometimes 3 shows a week, and it's been so like someone pulled the ID drip out of me.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's how it is here too. Like that's what, like, not almost everyone in my band, like we're all not just musicians, we're music fans. So now we don't, same thing with us, like when we're not on the road or playing, you know, we're usually going to shows, especially when we both, like my drummer works at one of the venues here, and I worked there for a little while. So even like we used to just go down there, we wouldn't even know what show's going on, but we'd go down there every night or whatever, every other night, just to see something, just to get out. And yeah, it's, I haven't been to a show. I can't think of the last show I've actually gone to. I haven't attended anything during this. And then we've played, like I said, just a handful of shows. But yeah, I miss going to shows just as much as I miss playing them. So I don't know. See how this all shakes out. I have no idea how it's going to work, but we'll see.
You just said you did one that was a socially distant show, and I hope that some more people will be able to start figuring out safe ways to do shows. Yeah,
that they did it. We had done a couple during this time that just, I don't know, I think maybe with these 3 we've maybe done, it's under 10 during this whole thing for sure, but we've maybe done 7. I'll say 7, but these last 3 were about the only ones that were really, I think, thought out, put together well. Mm-hmm. And it was a good thing to see that I think it can be done if it's done correctly, but everyone has to kind of like do their part. And I don't know, a lot of people start drinking and so being distant from each other, it kind of goes out the window, which I understand it. I'm guilty myself at times, so I have to just remind myself, okay, yes, this is still going on in the world. But yeah, I don't know, but it was good to see that over the weekend, that it can be done if done correctly.
Well, I think that's all we have for everybody today. Thanks so much, Arlo, for joining me and chatting.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.
And I hope everyone goes out and gives your album a listen.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Till next time.
Bye. All right. See you next time.